Hi YouTube, welcome back to another video from Wtf Rc Cars. So, we've got the Yantrs servos that I've just reviewed. Spectacular servos, especially for money. But if you ignored the money, this spectacular servos anyway. But we can make them even better with the programmer. And so this is a programmer and a servo tester, I believe. But I've only just got this in, so let's get it plugged in. Let's see what happens when we plug these in and see if there's any weirdness we get setting these up. And hopefully I should be able to take you through and show you what settings you can change with these and give you a bit of an explanation. Because as with all these programmable servos, there's no instructions. It's the same with Wtf Rc. There's a whole bunch of settings on the programming software and they just kind of expect you to know what they do. So, let's bring you in for a close-up look and see how we get on with this one. Right, so first thing we're going to need to do is get some programming software. So I'll put the link as always in description below. But basically, you enter this link and it'll come straight to the part where it asks you where you want to download it to. So let's just make a folder on desktop. So I'm just going to call it Yantrs for the folder. So we'll just label folder Yantrs so we know what it is. And then you just need to save it to that location. It's not a very big file, so it'll not take long to download. And then basically we can close this. We can open a Yantrs folder and you just double click it. It probably come up with this because it's an unknown file on computer, but you can just click more info and run anyway. Most software like this does tend to pick up or get blocked because it's a program used for programming something else, and a lot of time PCs don't like it. So that is our basic software. Now it should detect this automatically when we put it in, but sometimes you have to configure the COM port. And if we do, I'll show you how to do it, and if we don't, I'll show you how to do it anyway. Now it comes with a USB-C cable, which is nice to see. Everything USB-C nowadays. You can power it externally, and it's mainly going to be this top port that we're looking into for this video, for these servos, I believe anyway. So if we plug that in, we've got a little power light inside and you get a little blue light flashing. So depending if you've got any other devices plugged into your computer, we're going to want to go onto Device Manager. And then we're looking for COM ports, so I think it's just installing driver for this one. So if we go down to ports, click it open, and you'll see it. Usually if you've got nothing else on a COM port, it'll assign it to COM port 3. So if we close the software again, then reopen it, and it should auto detect COM port 3. If you click the drop down, if you've got any other COM ports, any other serial devices connected, you'll get a list of them there. But basically, if you just plug it in, let it install its driver, then open the program, it should see it. Now, from experience, previous experience of programming servos, if you're going to change the actual servo frequency it runs at, I wouldn't have a servo horn connected to the actual servo while I'm programming it. You're far better off doing this. You don't need it out of the RC, but don't have a servo horn connected. Almost all the programmable servos that I've come across are actually 360-degree servos, and you set the angle in the software, so it could potentially try and spin all the way around. But let's see how we get on. So we've got a software open, we've got a servo, a signal wire wants to go towards the right hand side on the top port. So once we get it plugged in, we can click connect. That'll show that it's connected. We can go read parameters, and you see the servo starts spinning round. That's why I said don't connect these to the servo arm in your RC. So we've got a choice of standard servo, which I'm guessing is going to be around 333. We've got SR, SSR, SFR. SFR I believe is 1000 Hz. And then SXR and UR. So whatever your actual transmitter and receiver support, this is where you can change the speed of it. If we start from top, you've got its PWM max position and min position. You've got the control angle, you've got the sensor angle, then the sensitivity for PWM, direction, positive or reverse. So if the servo's working the wrong way for your RC, you can permanently switch it in here. Signal lost, you can either have it locked or unlocked, so it can lock to position or unlock. Then we've got different frequencies, and you can see in here what it does to your PWM bandwidth, where it changes it to, and these are also configurable. So if we set this one to SFR, should give us 1000 Hz at that. 180 degrees, so they all look right. Then as we come down this side, you've got your soft start, you've got the output power, you've got the braking sort of force on the servo when it turns out it stops. Back center, I'm not sure what that is, but you've got your dead zone, response speed, sensitivity, output protection, so what it'll drop the power down to, and then protection time, I think that's in seconds. Once you've set this how you want, so we're going to go for SFR, and you can basically save the settings to your actual, to a file. You can import them, so that'll save, that'll import. So I'm not sure what the difference is between save settings and write device, because I'm guessing write device writes it back to the actual servo. So if we then disconnect, reconnect it and read, and yeah, we can see the settings saved on what I changed them to. So you can tell which setting you're on by what the actual settings are. So if we change this to SR, but I then read the servo, you can see it changes back to our SFR settings. So once we've got it set at 1000 Hz and we've got a steering angle and everything set, then we need to try it on a transmitter. So let's make sure we're disconnected. Let's pick a random transmitter. So if we go to a model that we're not using, let's reset model. And this basic setup will be exactly the same whether you're using an nb4, a Noble Pro, nb4 Plus. So I'm just going to get a receiver and I'm going to put this into bind mode. So for this, for 1000 Hz, you will have to use an enhanced receiver. And if we just plug this into channel 1, and then let's get a servo arm stuck to it so you can see if it actually works or not at 1000 Hz. So we've got a servo connected, we've got a receiver in bind mode. Channel number definitions, kind of irrelevant, but RX set, bind set, enhanced start channel steering.
Binding successful.
So we've now got it bound. Interface protocol. We want all on PWM, and then servo frequency. So steering, we want to set to 1000 Hz SFR. and then you can see a servo, 180 degrees of travel, lightning fast, and perfectly centered and all. Quite impressed with that. But you get the full 180 degree travel. And if we go in just to check, servo frequency, SFR, 1000 Hz. So crazy fast response time. And we're running at 1000 Hz. You can slow it down on the software. So if we chose SR, it'd be 833. The other ones, I'm not sure exactly what they are, but ultimately if you're going to be running likes of an nb4 Plus Noble Pro, you're going to want to set this to 1000 Hz, because if you've got a radio, a receiver and a servo that can update 1000 times a second, you may as well use it. But this is exactly the same setup on the other radios, so let's quickly.
Welcome to Noble Test. Receiver first. Shutting down.
So we'll swap out the nb4 for the nb4 Plus. I'll power cycle our receiver. Put it in bind mode. So let's shoot down to a model memory we're not using. So we'll go on number 7, reset model, channel number definition. We can set it to 8, why not? We can use it all. Then RX set, servo frequency, steering. We can go all the way up to 1000 again. Bind set, enhanced, start channel, steering.
Binding successful.
And then we got 1000 Hz servo running on the nb4 Plus. Exactly the same on Pro or anything else. So everything from the original nb4 to the Plus and the Pro all work absolutely fine with the Yantrs servos running at 1000 Hz. Now you can play around with all the other settings that you've got, and to be honest, it's not going to do any harm to anything. So you can play around with all these settings to your heart's content. You can also back up the original settings if you're a bit concerned about putting it back to normal. But if you click on these, you can go through and you can change it. You can also change your actual angle. You can change the control angle. So where the servo starts from, I believe that's what the control angle is. Your sensitivity and everything. Being able to reverse the servo so you don't, if you know that the servo's working the wrong way, you don't have to reverse it on your transmitter. You can permanently reverse it on the actual servo itself. And it's just interesting being able to change like the dead zone and the braking force on it, the soft startup, and the what it does in the various protect modes. But yeah, SFR will get you 1000 Hz, and that's pretty much as fast as most radios out there would be able to run. So as long as you've got an enhanced receiver on one of the Flysky radios, you can set it to 1000 Hz and you're getting crazy response speed out of it. There is other settings on here that you can play about with. So the protection, which is what it'll drop the power down to after the protection time. So if the servo thinks it's jammed, probably good on rock crawlers, so you don't burn your servos out. Not really sure what the difference is between these, because it seems like that is to save the settings. So if we go to this, So if we just randomly name it something and save it. And then we go to import. Yeah, we can bring the settings back in. So I'm wondering if we make a change to this, so if we go SR and then save setting, is that saving it to that, or is it saving it to the file? So it says writing successful. So if we then go import, that didn't save it back to file, but that does. So you can overwrite the file and then you can import it, but then that's how you'd write it to device. So at the minute I've got me servo connected and I want the settings that I've actually set up, so I'll write them back to a servo and then disconnect. But yeah, quite simple to use, other than working out whether it's that or that. I mean, that says write to device, that says save settings, so you would have thought that had saved to a file and that had write to device, maybe. But as I say, I can't find any instructions for these. But to do what we want to, you can set your minimum and your max of the PWM, that's the frequency range it's going to use. Control angle, I believe that is where the servo starts from, and then sensor angle is the sweep of the actual servo. So you can set them, I believe you can set it to 360. I don't think you can set it to 360 continuous, and that's one thing I've seen people get confused with winch servos. You can buy 360 degree continually rotating servos. You can also buy servos that can sweep over 360 degrees. So, but yeah, that's where you change the sweep of the actual servo. And then you've got your sensitivity, your positive or reverse, the direction your servo goes, so you don't have to reverse it on your transmitter. And then when it loses signal, you can have it just lock in position or unlock. Your actual frequencies, so anybody with Sanwa radios and Futaba will be used to seeing SR, SSR, SFR. And then basically make your selection, write to device, and then you can just disconnect. But yeah, basic software, we can make backups, you can save your settings, you can restore them, and you can set your servo up exactly how you like. Pretty easy to set up, pretty easy to plug in, pretty easy to use. All I would do is make sure this is plugged in before you start the actual software, because then it'll assign a COM port and a driver, and as soon as you open it, you can see it's connected. And if you've got no other options, it's got to be that one. Use the top port PWM. Top set of this one is what we're using for programming these. But yeah, quite a well made, quite a nice programmer, and it does its job. It does actually work. So let's wrap this one up. So there you have it. If you're looking to get the absolute best out of any of your Flysky transmitters, especially the nb4, nb4 Plus, nb4 Pro, and these can run 1000 Hz. These are really nice servos for the money, and programmer is incredibly well made for a programmer. I'm used to these things being little plastic bits or just circuit boards. Not at all the case with this one. Machined aluminium and USB-C, which is very much appreciated. Beautiful servo, beautiful programmer, and you're going to want one of the enhanced receivers, so something like the FGR4D if you're running in the electrics. Nitro, I'd go with the FGR4B with the little antenna. But set it to enhanced, go in your servo frequencies, set it to 1000, set your servo to SFR, and 1000 Hz servo, away you go. But thanks a lot for watching Wtf Rc Cars. All the links for everything will be in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and Catch you guys again in the next one.